Vuela raga, how's it going guys? I hope you are all doing great today. It is a lovely day, so I've decided that I'm gonna film yet another video here at the park. Today I'd like to talk to you guys about la particella ne, which in English would mean the particle, there we go, I'm thinking in Italian still, the particle ne. We don't exactly have something quite like this, but we have similar things like it in English. This basically is just going to help you to, once again, just like indirect and direct object pronouns, to keep you from being repetitive, and also it just makes you sound like a badass, let's just put it that way. And no, you will not find that said in any textbook, you will only hear that said from me, okay? Because in my opinion, when you use ne, you sound like a total badass, because it shows that you have a really good understanding of Italian, okay? Because what ne does is it replaces things that you're talking about in reference to quantity. So when you're talking about like of it, of him, of her, because both things and objects have gender in Italian, also of them, and then what is the other one? Sometimes you can also use it to say like about, but we'll get into that, and then I'll get into some other things later on. So anyway, let's get right to this, and let me show you a classic phrase that you can hear people using all the time with ne, and that is che ne pensi? I use and have heard this phrase used many times. It basically just means, what do you think? But in Italian, they always want you to finish your statement. They're not okay with you saying, what do you think? They're like, but what do you think about what? So that's why we have ne, because ne is kind of like a pronoun. Think of it like that. Think of it kind of like essere, because the reason why I say that is because when we use it, we have to be mindful of both gender and the number of things that we're talking about. So we're saying, what do you think about it? That's why we use ne, okay? So, cosa ne pensi? What do you think about it? Let's get going with my next example. That way I can really show you how this works by showing you tons of examples, okay? So we have, hai sentito parlare di Tom. Now, what does this mean in English? It's not a literal translation because it's kind of like a common expression in Italian. And whenever we have common expressions and figures of speech, you're going to find that a lot of the time we will not be using literal translations. Instead, what we use is the translation that makes the most sense, the translation that is kind of like its counterpart in the other language, okay? So if someone ever says to you, hai sentito parlare di Tom, that means, have you ever heard of Tom? Or simply, have you heard of Tom? I think if it were to be have you ever, it would have to be hai mai sentito parlare di Tom, just to be specific here, okay? So to answer this by saying, yes, I've heard of him, you use ne to mean of him. So you can say, sì, ne ho sentito parlare. Sì, ne ho sentito parlare. That means, yes, I have heard of him. Now we have this question. Let's say you're in a store and you see a pair of shoes and you want to know if they have any more in that color. You can say, avete altre scarpe di questo colore? Avete altre scarpe di questo colore. So that means, do you guys have more shoes or other shoes in this color? Sometimes in Italian they use, actually a lot of the time in Italian, they use altri or altre, because this is a feminine plural thing, scarpe. They use it to mean more, so it can mean other and also more. Just keep that in mind, okay? We can also use più to mean more, but you can also use altri or altre if it's a feminine plural. Now let's say the salesperson says this to you. No, non ne abbiamo più, or no, non ne abbiamo altre. See how I used più there? It's just my mind, like I'm looking at my notes now and I'm like, oh wow, I used più and I didn't even know that I did that. I should have said altre because it sounds better. At least that's what it feels like to me. For some reason it sounds better if I say altre instead of più. But there you have an example right there. I just used it without even realizing it. So this means, no, we don't have any more. That's exactly how we say it in English. No, we don't have any more. But think of it this way. The Italians are not okay with you just saying we don't have any more, because they're like, more of what? Even though we know we're talking about shoes, like more of what? So that's why you have to say ne, because it actually means no, we don't have any more of them, okay? So always think of it that way. This is why I think it can be confusing for us who speak English, because we don't always say we don't have any more of them. We just say we don't have any more. You know what I'm saying? So let's continue on with some more examples, all right? Here's another question. Hai molti cugini? Hai molti cugini, which means, do you have a lot of cousins? If you do, you can respond by saying, sì, ne ho tantissimi. Let's say you want to say that you've got like a ton of cousins. You've got like so many. You can say, sì, yes, ne ho tantissimi. I have a lot, or I have lots, I have a ton. Whenever you say like tantissimi, it's like a lot. Because tanto means a lot, and anytime you have that issimi at the end, it just adds more emphasis that it's more than what it already is. So someone could be bello or bella, which means nice or pretty, but then they can also be bellissimo or bellissima, which means like just beautiful. So you got pretty, and then you have beautiful. You get it? You can also use like bellissimo to say wonderful. I went over that, I think, in my common expressions video in Italian. I'll have that link down below too. So let's take a look at another question. This one's a little bit more complicated. Avete fatto qualche foto? Which means, did you guys take any pictures, or did you guys take some pictures? Here's like a red flag. We're talking about quantity. Ne has got to come up in our response. You can say, sì, ne abbiamo fatte tante. Sì, ne abbiamo fatte tante. Yes, we've taken a lot. And a lot of what? A lot of them. That's why we've got ne there, okay? So why is it ne abbiamo fatte? Because remember when I said, I think I said in this video, that ne is kind of like essere, where we have to be mindful of gender and the number of things that we're talking about. So just like when we're using essere, you can say things like ci siamo capiti, or where like the end of the verb can actually change to correspond with the gender and number of things that we're talking about. That can happen here with ne. So sì, ne abbiamo fatte tante. The next question we have is a really easy one that you guys have probably heard tons of times. It is quanti anni hai? How old are you? But it literally means how many years do you have? Quanti anni hai? You can respond by simply saying ho 23. Like in my case, I'm 23. But you can also say ne ho 23, which means I have 23 of them. Because they asked you how many years do you have, you can respond by saying I have 23 of them, which can also mean I'm 23. So there's two ways to respond to this basic question, and I bet you no one has ever taught you that in like a beginner Italian course. You can respond by saying ho 23 anni, or you could say ne ho 23. There you go. That way you don't have to say years again. So how many years do you have? Instead of saying I have 23 years, you just say I have 23 of them. Get the idea? Now I'd like to show you guys an example of ne used as about it, because sometimes you can use it to mean that as well. So I can say non è così, ne sono sicuro. Or as Italians sometimes say, they sometimes cut off the ending of words. They can say non è così, ne son sicuro, instead of saying ne sono sicuro. It happens all the time in Italian. I like saying it because I think it makes me sound more native, so I say it all the time. But non è così, ne sono sicuro, which means it's not like that. I'm sure of it, or I'm sure about it. It just depends on what you're talking about. So I'm sure of it, or I'm sure about it. So ne son sicuro. Someone could ask you, if you're a girl, for example, ne sei sicura? Which is like, are you sure? But sure of what? Are you sure of it or about it? See how it works? Ne sei sicura? Are you sure about it? You can just answer sì or no, yes or no. And the last thing I want to add for you guys is when we have ne with an accent mark going in the way that you don't see it all the time on the letter E in Italian. And this is when you're saying neither or nor. And this is the last thing I've got for you guys today. Just a little added bonus in case any of you guys want to see another way that you can use ne, but this time with an accent mark. So for example, non mi piace né questo né quello. I don't like, or I like neither this one nor that one. Now, though we don't say that too much in English, it's just, you know, just to show you in an example how you could use this to say neither or nor. My last example is non fa né caldo né freddo. What does that mean? It is neither hot nor cold. This is a better example, right? It is neither hot nor cold. Non fa né caldo né freddo. So this is everything that I've got prepared for you guys. I know that there have been a lot of examples and maybe everything doesn't exactly make sense, but just hang in there. Maybe re-watch this video a couple times, maybe try to do a few examples on your own. You can leave them down below in the comments and then I can take a look and let you know, hey, yeah, that's right, or no, actually just change it to be like this. And there's plenty of Italian speakers who watch my videos that I'm sure will look in the comments and help you guys out also, because that is a great thing about Italians. They love helping people to better understand their language. They've helped me tremendously, including many of the people who watch my videos and comment on them all the time. But as always, guys, have a great day. Always remember to spread the love, and I will catch you guys all next time. Ciao.